स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भृगो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव। ओम गुरुदेव भगवान शिव शंकर भोलेनाथ कैलाशपति महाराज की जय, भगवान व्यास जी महाराज की जय, शंकराचार्य भगवान की जय, स्वामी चिन्मयानंद भगवान की जय, स्वामी दयानंद भगवान की जय, स्वामी प्रबोधानंद भगवान की जय, स्वामी शुद्धानंद भगवान की जय, साध्वी आनंद ज्योति जी की जय, सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय, माता पिता की जय, सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय, सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय, सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता chapter number 6 verse number 29, seeing the sameness in everything means seeing Brahman in everything, and actually meaning seeing oneself as whole, as everything. I am the whole, everything. There is, let's say, there is nothing other than me. सर्वभूतस्थ आत्मनं सर्वभूतानि च आत्मनि इक्षते योगयुक्त आत्मा सर्वत्र समदर्शनः। योग युक्त आत्मा, योग युक्त, the one whose mind is resolved by this contemplation, the yoga by which the mind is resolved, the contemplation, sarvatra, everywhere, samdarshana, one who has a vision of sameness. The one who has vision of sameness. Sameness means equality. Atmanam, the self. Sarva bhutashtham, abiding in all beings. Sarva bhutani, all beings. Cha, and atmani, in the self. Ikshate, sees. One whose mind is resolved by this contemplation, who has a vision of sameness everywhere, sees the self abiding in all beings and being in the self. He sees the sameness. The same is in everyone. The Brahman, the same is Brahman, is in everyone and is in me as well. Is in me means I am also the Brahman. In me doesn't mean it is inside me. No, I am the Brahman, and everything else is Brahman. Whatever, everything, everyone else is Brahman. There is nothing other than Brahman. Here Krishna says that yogi, the meditator, sees the self. Atmanam ikshyate. The meditator sees the self, meaning that he or she knows the self. First thing we derive is that one is knows, he knows the self. And what self does this person see? What self? कौन सा self दिखता है? Everyone knows oneself as a person having a history, biography, which is identical with the physical body and the experience one has had. This body is connected to some other bodies, and therefore there is brother, sister, son, daughter, or someone else. Generally, then this self that is known is connected to given physical body as a person who abides in that body. Whereas the yogi being discussed in this verse recognize himself or herself as the self that abides in all beings. Sarva bhutashtham atmanam pasyati. Sarva bhutashtham atmanam pashyati. And it is not just that all the beings have their being in himself or herself alone. Sarva bhutani cha atmani. Thus Atma runs through everything, and the same time everything is in Atma. And one who is it that sees this, Yoga Yukta Atma, one whose mind is dissolved by contemplation, who has achieved success in this contemplation. Such a person is also Sarvatra Samadarshana, one who sees the sameness, Sama, and that is Atma in everything. In other words, there is an appreciation, a vision of that which is always same in all beings. In all beings, in everything, there is something without any special attribute. Nirvishesha, and there is something peculiar to each. Vishesha. We see this Nirvishesha and Vishesha in different type of golden ornament. Chains, bangles, rings, and so on. In all of them, there is one thing that is Nirvishesha. And what is that? Gold. While the particular for which the chain etc. is Vishesha, chain is Vishesha. And what is Nirvishesha? Gold. Gold is in everything, which is Nirvishesha. निर्विशेष को समझने का तरीका है जो कोई कुछ विशेष नहीं है, जो सामान्य है, सामान है, इज सेम, सामान. गोल्ड इज इन एवरी ऑर्नामेंट. सो गोल्ड इज निर्विशेष, सामान, हर चीज में सामान्य है. गोल्ड इज एवरीवेयर, इन चेन, इन रिंग, or in the necklace, or in bangles, or in rings, whatever you hear, gold is there. And what is Vishesha? The bangle is Vishesha, the ring is Vishesha, and gold is Nirvishesha. Although gold is also an attribute, this example illustrates the point being made here with reference to all these chains and rings and bangles. There is something common in all of them, something Nirvishesha. Sometimes that is the truth, Satya, of all of them, gold. There are many Visheshas, that is all the various names and forms, Nama and Rupa. We are Vishesha, this body is Vishesha, it has a name, it has a Rupa. But what is Nirvishesha? The Brahman, which is in all the bodies, which is the essence of all the bodies, all the beings.
Similarly, all the Nama Rupas have their basis, their truth, existence. Satya in Atma, that is Brahman. And that Brahman I am. The one who knows the Nirvishesha, that is free from attributes. The Satya is everything. Sarvatra, that which lends its existence to all names and forms, is called Sarvatra Samadarshana. Wherever the person looks, he or she sees Brahman. Only Jnani can see this. Only Jnani who has the knowledge. If you enter the ornament shop, you will see lot of rings, bangles, necklaces, earrings, and all what not. But only the one who has knowledge will see only the gold. A Jnani sees only gold. He sees that every form is gold only. So is in case of a Jnani who knows the Brahman. Only Brahman is Nirvishesha. He is everything. It is wrong to say he is in everything. No, he is everything. There is nothing other than Brahman. And I tell you, the one who moves forward for this jnana, all sadhans to avail this jnana comes by God's grace. They all come upon all the required sadhans. This is the blessing God has given. The one who moves, the one who marches forward for this knowledge, all the sadhans are provided. He receives them by God's grace. And if you have the sadhans and not moving forward for jnana, you are wasting the entire life. This jnana will never be available again. This is the only lifetime in which you can thrive for this knowledge. The one who marches forward in this, for this knowledge, attains everything. Yes, including all forms of livelihood, all forms of luxuries. Yes, the one who marches forward with this, for this knowledge, he sorts out all the problems coming in. This is what Bhagwan has always said. Dharma sanstharpanarthaya. Dharma sanstharpana means for establishing dharma. And dharma is to know Brahman, to understand Brahman. The God comes. God says, I come and give all the sadhans to achieve Brahman. He has given this form to achieve Brahman, to Jiva. This is God's grace to have such a beautiful, wonderful life and still not thriving. Thriving means crying, dying for knowing, understanding, deeply getting into Brahman only, nothing else. All sadhan required by this body for the knowledge will be given by God Himself. He will make a route for everything to fall in line. Contemplation is the appreciation of what is being said here. There is no real looking implied here. What is meant is that for this person there is no ignorance about self. The vision of the person is that the self is in all the beings. And all the beings are in self. This understanding, this vision, the vision of Vedanta, described its entirety in this verse, and the next two verses is what is referred to as the knowledge. These three, four verses are the most important verses. These verses is what is referred to as knowledge. In fact, these three verses lend themselves to contemplation, because contemplation is primarily the appreciation of what is being said here. The meaning of the word I is not exactly you understand it to be. It is not this physical body, mind, sense complex. When you say this is my body, mind, my senses, you become someone who abides in this body, mind, sense complex. For this you require no special knowledge. In fact, it is very common for people to take themselves in this way. This is how you take yourself. You are this body, you are this mind, you are these sense organs, you are this sense complex. Body, mind, sense complex is what you call yourself is. And not only do you take yourself to someone who abides in this body, mind, sense, you also take the body, mind and sense to be yours. Which is why you say, this is my body, my mind, my senses. Similarly, when you say, I am fat, the body itself becomes the I. When you say, I am restless, the mind becomes the I. When you say, I am tired, the prana becomes the I, and makes it possible for us to have two situations here. Either the physical body itself is Atma, or Atma abides in the body. Both are being negated here. The Atma that you talk about is the Atma that abides in all beings. Sarva Bhutashtha, not just in one Bhuta, in one body. How do you appreciate this Sarva Bhutashtha Atma? Since Atma never becomes an object, you cannot see it like you see. You can see the string that runs through different beads, thereby holding them together. Because you can see both the beads and the string, you can say that the string is Sarva Bhutashta. The beads being all the bhutas. The string is not just one bead. It runs through all the beads. Even the beads are of different shape, colors and value. All of them are run through the one string. Here both the beads and the string are object. Both of them are anatma. Although the illustration is used to explain Sarva Bhutashtatma, like any illustration, it is subject to defect. When all these jnani give you the example of bead and the thread moving through, for the Sarva Bhutatma, yes, it is Sarva Bhutatma running from through all the bodies, through all the beads of all different types. It runs through pearls and sapphires and diamonds and everything. But this example is also defected. Because here both are anatma. The beads is also anatma, whereas the thread is also anatma. As an object perceived by you, the string is anatma, and so are the beads. Even if the string is not seen by you, because the beads are strung so closely together, you can infer that the string is there. Thus, the string is an object inferred by you. Whether an object is perceived or inferred, with either way, it is an object known by you and is therefore anatma. Anything known by you is anatma. But here, how does one recognize the atma in all beings? Recognize it. You recognize the various beings, but if you recognize in all of them one atma, atma becomes an object of recognition. Atma can never be recognized as an object. It is not any other thing. It is not any other object which is in. That is why it is not in. How is this statement Sarva Bhutashtham Atmanam Ikshyate to be understood? Atma is only one. There is nothing other than Atma. Atma is only one, and this is I. There is no other Atma, because everything else is anatma. If you define Atma as one thing referred to as the first person I, then everything that is evident to this Atma becomes anatma. Therefore, is there not some difficulty here? How are you to recognize Atma in all these anatmas? This problem arises because the Atma that you recognize as yourself is not only in your physical body, it is not only in any one physical body alone. Then you associate it with one body. It becomes ahankara, the I notion. It becomes the jiva, the individual. Then you go one step further and recognize the jiva as pure chaitanya, pure consciousness alone. Then everything else in the world are beings. All the minds, etc., have their being in that consciousness, which has no particular location. If consciousness had a location, then it would be located only in living beings. In other words, consciousness would be there in one living being and another place in another living being. Then how would you recognize the one that is present in all these beings? Between two beads you can see or infer there is a string. There is how you know that the string obtains in space also. But if consciousness had particular location, how could you recognize it? There is no way to recognize consciousness, Atma, except by understanding that it has no location. Atma is not located somewhere. It is not located anywhere. Location itself is always in terms of subtle inquiry. The very concept of location is based upon the various forms that you see abiding in space. You see one object existing in place P, another object existing in place P1. The difference between between them there is space. Therefore you say this object is located here and that object is located there. Then you say Taj Mahal is located in Agra and Qutub Minar is located in Delhi. The location of two objects are not being the same. You ask where particular object are located or formed, there certain person comes and so on. The physical body definitely has a location. It has to be located. The concept have their own locations. And if you analyze the locations of all these, you will find that they exist within the framework of time and space alone. All concepts, time, space, all concepts, time, space concept, and object within time, space concept exist where? That in which they are located is Atma, consciousness called Sarva Bhutashtaya Atma, the self or the truth of all beings. Time and space also have their existence in Atma. Why? Because Atma is not located in any particular place. To understand this is to have an appreciation of Nirvishesha Chaitanya, attribute free consciousness, which is the Swarupa, the nature of Atma. Nirvishesha Chaitanya is not located in time or space, because time and space are not absolute, existing parallel to Atma. Time and space are not parallel to Atma. Time and space have their existence in the being that is Chaitanya, consciousness. Chit is the being, the existence. Sat Chita. Sat is Chit and Chit is Sat. There are no two things. Chit is not parallel to Sat and Sat is not parallel to Chit. It is one. And in this Sat Chitatma, all beings have their existence. It is not a common block. Sat, it is Sat. There is no way, any other way. It is to be only understood. No way it can be gholod and given in a syrup. This Gyan cannot be given in a syrup. It has to be understood. And it is not easy. Neither it is difficult. Because it is about you. Who is Satya? Whose Atma are we talking about? Consciousness has no particular location in living being, because wherever there is mind, consciousness is manifest there, and where there is no mind, consciousness is not manifest. There is nothing more to it than this. Therefore, manifest consciousness is seen as though it is conscious being. A thought, certain response on the part of the person is manifest. And from this you may say that the person has consciousness. But this is not the way to look at it. The object of such an inference is anatma. Whatever you infer is anatma alone. Chaitanya has no location whatsoever. In Chaitanya everything is located. That is why it is said. Paramatma is not in Srishti. Srishti is in Paramatma. Paramatma is not in some loka, Vaikuntha loka, Swarga loka, Prithvi loka, Mrityu loka, Patal loka. No. All these lokas are in Paramatma. Chaitanya has no location whatsoever. In Chaitanya everything is located. If this is understood, then wherever there is a being, the being has its being in the self. The self is the basis, adhisthana for all beings. All beings have their adhisthana, their basis in the self alone. Therefore, the self run through any being that you think about, and that being is sustained, vivifed by this same alone. In this way, Atma becomes the adhisthana, the basis for any bhuta. Being limitless Atma is not bound by time or space. And in this limitless consciousness alone, all beings have their their existence. Each one of them has its adhishthana. Its basis in Atma. And therefore in I, Aham Atma is not the self of any one being. It is the self that abides in all beings. Sarva Bhutashtha Atma. The resolution of all being into the self by knowledge. The other statement in this verse, Sarva Bhutani Cha Atmani Ikshate, is also important. It means the meditator sees all being in the self. How? This is what is meant by resolution. To understand this, let us look at different type of resolution or dissolution called Laya and Pralaya. One type of Laya is Nitya Laya, the resolution that take place daily when you go to sleep. Everything is resolved into yourself, your projections, your experiences, the world and all its being resolved into yourself. Yourself alone in sleep. This is called Nitya Laya, daily dissolution. Then there is Mahapralaya, cosmic dissolution, referred by the expression Srishti Sthiti Pralaya, creation, sustenance, dissolution of the world itself. This type of Laya is like deep sleep, but with reference to the total, the cosmos, rather than to a given individual. Nothing is really lost in these two types of dissolution, since everything is merely in unmanifested condition, and when it manifests, again it is just as it was before. When you come back from sleep, you are as you were before, and everything else also becomes back in the same form. Similarly, after Mahapralaya, the creation also comes back exactly as it was before, and can therefore be considered an extension of the deep sleep condition alone. Because these manifest and unmanifest condition from a cycle, nothing is really lost. From a manifest condition to an unmanifest condition is called pralaya, dissolution or resolution, and from the unmanifested condition to manifest condition is called srishti, creation, and the continual change that the manifest from form undergo is called srishti. Sustenance, wherein the same manifestation seem to appear but with certain changes. Srishti is not stationary condition. It is time bound and always changing. Everything is always in the state of flux, but still recognizable. Even though constantly changing, you recognize the mountain, the sun, moon to be the same. Meeting the old friends after 10 years, you recognize the person in spite of the changes that have taken place in each of you. If moment to moment things were to change in such a drastic way that you could not recognize them at all, there would be continuous dissolution, pralaya, and no sthiti at all. Continuous dissolution and continuous creation is meaningless. There is a recognizable srishti, sthiti, sustenance in spite of the change taking place. The sun itself is impounding all the time, and thus is not exactly the same sun that you saw a minute before. It may run out too. In the same way, nothing remains the same. Everything is constantly changing. There is creation, srishti, constant change within itself, sthiti, and dissolution, pralaya. This srishti, sthiti, Pralaya cycle is nothing but manifestation and unmanifestation of consciousness, Atma. The third type of pralaya is called Atyanta pralaya, total dissolution, and is what is called moksha. Atyanta pralaya or moksha does not involve any kind of disappearance. You look at the same object and resolve it in appreciation of its cause. The truth of the object is Satyavastu. For example, you see 1,000 pots born of clay. You resolve all these objects by appreciating clay as Satya of every pot. Then there is Maha Atyanta Pralaya, when all names and forms with their various distinct features go into the state of unmanifestation, unmanifested condition. It is called either Laya or Pralaya. It means that it is either Nitya Laya or Maha Pralaya, whereas here without changing any object, things are as they are, but at the same time they are envisioned by you as non-separate from the cause. Brahma Atma. This particular vision is unfolded in this verse by the words Sarva Bhutani cha Atmani Ikshate. Vedanta reveals the cause, Karana of everything as Satya, and the effect Karya as Mithya. This is what Vedanta does. It reveals the causes, the Karana of everything, Satya. It reveals it as Satya. This particular analysis is therefore Karana Karya Vada, Karya Karana Vada, cause effect analysis. In fact, there is no real Karana or Karya because one of them becomes Mithya. This means that status of being a Karan is also incidental. Everything that is here is Satya Brahma alone. Satya Brahma alone. Knowing this, you look at the world, the same world with a different buddhi. You look at it as a Purusha. I the cause, therefore the entire creation is only in terms of subtle and gross bodies, Sukshma and Sthula Sharira. These alone are created, whereas Atma being timeless is not created. Uncreated Atma is the truth of everything, Satya Vastu, the basis, Adhisthana of any creation that may be there. Atma is the very base for the vision implied by the word. In this verse, Sarva Bhutashtam Atmanam Sarva Bhutani cha Atmani Kshate. Here a problem can arise. Wherever there is Adhisthana, a confusion is possible between the basis of Ashray and based Ashrita. For instance, when I say, on the rope is a snake, on the gold is chain, you may think that the snake is actually lying on the rope or the chain is actually sitting on top of the gold. It would mean that rope and the snake or the gold and the chain are two different things, when in fact they are not. It is just a way of describing something wherein there are apparently two objects, but in fact there is only one. There are no two objects. Gold is not other than chain. Apparently two, but in fact there is only one. When you talk about the snake on the rope or the chain on the gold, one object is adhisthana, the basis, and the other is something that is based, dependent on the adhisthana basis. We see that the basis based relationship generally implies two different things. Here too, Jagat, the world, all the beings, Sarva Bhutani are based upon Atma, and this is called Sarva Bhutashtha Atma. The Atma that is the Adhisthana for all beings, even so, this is to not a basis based relationship. Such a division is not there because all the bhutas are non-separate from Atma, which is why Krishna says here, Sarva Bhutani Atmani Ikshate. The person, the Sarvatra Samadarshi, Sarvatra Samadarshi, the one who sees same everything, the one who sees the Sama, Atma in everything, recognize all being as non-separate from Paramatma. See, the whole verse is only based on one thing. Just as he or she sees the clay in the pot and the gold in the chain. Seeing all being, time, space, everything in Atma is called Atyanta Pralaya. Atyanta Pralaya. A dissolution of the difference between object and their cause. Atyanta Pralaya is not the dissolution of the world. It is the dissolution of the difference between the world and its karana. The difference born out of ajnana, ignorance. This division is resolved in the vision that whatever that is here is not separate from Atma, that is Brahma. There is nothing possible other than Brahma. Only Brahman is. This seeing is moksha. Atyanta Pralaya. In next verse, Bhagavan says, the one who sees me in everything is not remote from me. The one who sees everything in me, in Brahman, is not himself other than Brahman. He is also Brahman. He is not part of Brahman. He is Brahman. You are Brahman. You are not part of Brahman. You are the Brahman. You are the complete form. There is nothing other than you. Not this body we are talking about. You, the Atma, the Paramatma, is nothing other than you. This is meditation. This is what you have to concentrate on. Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnad Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om Gurubhyo Namaha. We will see the next verse in tomorrow.